Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, That Aussie Mum. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Suze, and for those of you who do know me, welcome on back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to show you the 7 books that I read in 7 days while I was in isolation while I had the Rona. And yes, I did get through a book a day. I'm pretty proud of that. So we're going to jump right on in, and I will show you the 7 books that I read while I was in isolation. On day 1, I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is Emily Henry's latest book to have come out. I have only read Beach Read. I haven't read The You and Me on Vacation yet, but I do want to read that. I quite enjoy Emily Henry's rom-com style that we've got going on. Basically, in this story, we're looking at 2 characters. We're looking at Nora, who is a cutthroat literary agent, and we are looking at her nemesis, so to speak, Charlie, who is an editor for a publishing company. And basically, they meet while they're on vacation in a small town. Well, they've already met before, but they meet up by accident in this small town. And it's kind of that enemies to lovers kind of deal. I quite enjoyed it. I would recommend Emily Henry if you want to get into rom-com style books. It's a nice short one. It's a nice easy read. It's fun. It's cute. You know, it's not your deep thinking type high fantasy or anything like that, but it's still a fun read, and it might be able to get you out of a reading slump if you're in one. As you know, I enjoy most genres, so I have been challenging myself to read all different genres throughout this year. And this is a genre I haven't read for quite a while, so I was jumping back in with this one, and I really enjoyed this one. Day 2, I read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and for me, this was a 5-star read. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the characters in this. I really enjoyed the character development in this. And I have watched Shadow and Bone, the series, and I'm looking forward to the 2nd season coming out. But I really enjoyed this. I have not read the Shadow and Bone series, but this is also in the Grishaverse and actually follows characters that are in the Shadow and Bone series, but are not the sort of very main characters. And it's a very Ocean's 11-ish type heist story, which was really fun to read, and really fun to see how they got out of all the many situations that they managed to put themselves into. So I highly recommend this one. Six of Crows, I'm very much looking forward to reading The Crooked Kingdom, which is the next installment in this particular series. I don't know if it's a duology or if it's going to end up being a trilogy, but at the moment I think there's only 2 books in the series. Correct me if I'm wrong. On day 3, I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I don't normally pick up this kind of book, and I decided that I would try some books from Booktok. And this is one of the main ones that they spruik on Booktok, being an amazing read. And now I'm going to say something that's going to be very unpopular. People are not going to like what I say. I did not enjoy this book. I so wanted to DNF this book, but I thought, no, I'm going to push through. I've started it. I'm going to read it. Maybe it'll get better. But unfortunately, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo did not sit well with me. I did not enjoy it. Basically, we are looking at the life of an actress in Hollywood from the 1950s onwards, and kind of all the nasty stuff that happens in the background, especially in particular to women who were in that line of work. And by the end of the book, I just could not stand the character of Evelyn Hugo. I honestly did not like her at all. She didn't redeem herself throughout the book at all. And I really did not enjoy this book. And I'm really sorry for those of you who did enjoy this book. I know a lot of people really enjoyed it, but for me, it just did not click at all. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I just didn't enjoy it. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but we're all allowed to have our opinion, and my opinion is that I did not enjoy this. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to say you should not read this book because I didn't enjoy it. I know lots of people did enjoy it, and you know what, if you want to read this book, go ahead and read this book and see for yourself, and let me know whether you enjoyed it or not and why. But it actually made me depressed. Not my cup of tea, this one, unfortunately. Sorry, Booktok. This one was a fail for me. On day 4, I read The Chase by Candice Fox. Now this is a thriller sort of novel, and I don't normally read thrillers, but my dad does, and this is the kind of book that I would normally buy him for his birthday or for Christmas or for Father's Day. In fact, I think I did buy my dad this one. Either my brother or I bought my dad this book, and he enjoyed it, and he passed it on to me, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give it a crack. I don't normally enjoy the same genre as my dad, but I actually got sucked into this book so hard. So basically, in this book, we're looking at a prison and people on death row, and they all escape. All 600 plus prisoners escape, and we follow a couple of points of view. One of the points of view is one of the escaped prisoners who is on death row, and he wants to prove that he did not kill his family. And so he's escaping to try and prove that he did not. He wants to find the killer. Another point of view, main point of view, is one of the wardens who was the captain of the guard for death row. And she hates this other character. But as the story progresses, she starts to realize why she hates this character. And you can kind of see where she's getting this idea from. And in the end, she helps him to find the real killer. And it goes through all of getting all of the prisoners back, and it goes through a couple of different prisoners, just smaller POVs. It was very entertaining, and it took me a really long time to figure out who the real killer was, and it had me gripped. And it's not a small book, this one. I really did enjoy this one. I would give this one about a 3.5, 4 star, and I don't know, it just made me think I want to read more of Candice Fox's stuff because it was really gripping. On day 5, I decided I needed more romance in my life again, so I picked up The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. Again, another big Booktok sensation, and I wanted to see again what all the hype was about. I've been putting off reading it because I was like, I don't like reading books that are hyped because then they'll be disappointing. But I actually quite enjoyed this one. It was fun, it was cheeky, and it was cringy. There were so many cringe moments in it. Very rom-com-y, maybe a bit too cringy for my liking, but I enjoyed it. It was cute. I gave it, I think, a 3.5 star. And it follows a PhD student, Olive, who is trying to do research to help diagnose pancreatic cancer earlier than it has been, and this professor who everybody hates because he's so harsh all the time. And it's one of those, we're going to be fake dating and everyone's going to think we're dating because we need these particular things to happen. And as you can imagine, in the end, it ends up being real. But there's so much miscommunication that goes on with it, and it's just so many, the miscommunication is what makes it funny, but it is also kind of cringy, but it was still fun. So, you know, if you want a fun read, give this one a go. Like I said, big Booktok sensation. I don't believe it lived up to the hype that everyone was giving it, but it was still fun. I enjoyed it. On day 6, I decided I needed to get back into Stormlight Archives because I have finished everything up to the end of Words of Radiance. So the next installment in the Stormlight Archives after Word of Radiance is a novella called Edgedancer. Now, I say it's a novella, it's still an 80,000 word book. So in some genres that would be considered a novel or in and of itself. But in Brandon Sanderson style, that's tiny compared to what he normally writes in his 1,000-page books. So I decided I needed to keep going with this, so I jumped onto Edgedancer. I knew I could finish this one in a day because you know that you cannot finish a full Brandon Sanderson novel in one day. There is no way. There is just no way. So I figured this was a safe bet for my 7 books in 7 days challenge that I set myself. So as usual, I really enjoyed it. It is Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson. I fangirl over Brandon Sanderson with my other Brandon Sanderson fan friends who I work with at school, and I just love him. So Edgedancer follows one of a lesser known character. She's only introduced in Words of Radiance just a little bit, and I know that she becomes a much bigger character later on in the story, and her name is Lift, and she is a child, and she has been granted agelessness, so to speak. But she's also a radiant, so she's got particular powers that she has. And this story follows her trying to get away from a herald which is trying to come and kill her. But she also is trying to, what's the word? She's looking for other radiants. She knows there's something else out there. So this follows her adventures doing that. There's not much more I can say about it. It's short, it's sweet. It gives you insight in a particular character that's going to be coming on later on in the book that has not been, or in the series, that hasn't been developed at all yet. I think there was 1 chapter, maybe 2, set aside for this particular character in Words of Radiance. So this develops her character more and sets the scene for her in the next set of books, Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. It does have spoilers though, so if you've not read Words of Radiance yet, don't read this yet. You need to read it after Words of Radiance and before Oathbringer. I assume you could probably read Oathbringer without having to worry about reading this one, but if you're a real Sanderson fan, you'll read it all. On day 7, I decided I wanted something different again. So I picked up The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. And yes, the TV series on Netflix, The Last Kingdom, is based on this set of novels. There are a lot of them. This is just the beginning one. And it follows the character Uhtred, son of Uhtred. And it's basically during the... Does it say when? I think it says... It's based in Britain, just trying to find the dates. Based in Britain in sort of 1866 plus time. Yeah, you're looking at about the 1860s, 1850s, 1860s time. No, the 850s to 860s. So like 866 to 867 sort of year bracket. So you're looking way back when the Anglo-Saxons had come in and scared off all the Britons, and then the Danes decided to come and invade through Northumbria, which is up near, just below Scotland, I guess, and down the west coast and into England and Wales and all of that. And it follows this character, Uhtred, who as a child, his father dies in battle against the Danes, and the Danes actually take him in as a prisoner, but end up kind of adopting him and raising him until about the age of about 16, 17, maybe 18, when he then flips sides and goes back to the English side alongside Prince Alfred. And it just sort of follows his story along the battles that he was in, all that kind of thing. It's a very, I don't know how to say it. It's very, I went into battle and I killed this guy and I did this thing and then the battle was over. It was kind of like the character had little emotion. I don't know. It felt like it felt like it is this character telling his story, but I don't know. It's very historical, like there's no pretty language. It's not lyrical at all. It's matter of fact. And this is what happened. And this is what happened because of what happened. And if you kind of, does that even make sense? I don't feel like that even makes sense. Like, I think if you read it, you'd understand. It's not a lyrical piece. It's a history piece. It's a historical piece that's based on true events from the eyes of a fictional character, basically. And some of the other characters in there are fictional. Some of the characters in there are not fictional and are based on King Alfred and all these other people that were real at the time. So a lot of poetic license taken in this one. Fair enough. But I actually quite enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to picking up the next book. There are about 12 books, maybe more. So it's going to take me a while to get through this. But yes, I did enjoy this book, despite the lack of lyrical language and it being so... But it was good, and I enjoyed it. So that, my friends, brings us to the end of my 7 books in 7 days while I was in isolation with the Rona. And I was pretty pleased to get through a book a day. I was pretty happy with that. I think that's a good effort. I think it's a really good effort. Now, all of those books I will have linked down below to Amazon where you can actually purchase them. They are affiliate links, so it won't cost you anymore, but it does help me out a bit if you use my affiliate links. But I will have them linked all down below so that you can find them if any of those tickled your fancy. As you can tell at the moment, I'm on a bit of a Booktok bend. I don't know how long that will last before I shift into another space, I guess. It might be a while because I'm enjoying my books at the moment. So keep an eye out. New video coming out again soon. I'm going to be doing what I read in May, and I'm also going to be doing my reading pop list, which if you don't know what a pop list is, well, I'm not surprised because I'm pretty sure I made it up, and that is a pile of possibilities. Because as I said in my previous video, don't like doing TBRs and locking myself in. So what I'm going to do is just do a pile of books that I could possibly read in a month, and I probably won't read them all or in any particular order, but there will be possibilities. So I will be doing a reading pop list as well coming up in the very near future. In saying all of that, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Click that red subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on seeing any new videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.